Good morning. It is 9:24 a.m. on September 8th, Saturday, September 18th, 2021. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. Burping. I stayed up a little bit late last night playing Ghost of Tsushima, which is the I don't know, samurai game, I guess. I've talked about it a little bit before. I think you can. Yeah, it's set in on the Japanese island of Tsushima during the samurai era, when Mongols invade, and you are the one character that gets to be the open world protagonist character and try to fight off this invasion. It's really good. I like it a lot. I'm well into Act Two at this point. I've done all of the major quests leading up to the quest that I believe will probably trigger us into Act 3. It's pretty well divided that way. I've done most of the side quests and everything, but I did a quest line yesterday that it was sort of a nice change of pace, but also just kind of a reflection on how often still, I don't know, some games are limited in some ways by their own mechanics, compared to, say, like a role-playing game or something. And this is not like a deep criticism of video games or anything like that, but it's just an observation. It's a quest line where what you've been told you should do is go and recover the armor, the ancestral armor that was your character's father. And the character had not wanted to do that before, had some really complicated feelings about that because he has this childhood trauma where his father was, under attack, being, attacked by enemies, and in a moment of desperation asked his son for help, his unarmed child son, and the character was too afraid to do anything, and so his father was killed, and he feels like he should have done something, even though as we watch the cutscene, it's not obvious what he could have done. There's a bunch of guys with swords, and he's just a kid. What is he supposed to do? And like, it's a little bit of a, his father asking him to help. It's like, what? I mean, I guess he's desperate, but, he really did a number on our character's head, Jin's head. So, but in any case, he goes to get it, but he does get it. But a big part of what happens when he's there is that it starts this quest line where there's this character that is not his mother, but is kind of a maternal figure. I think she's technically like a servant of the house, but he really treats her kind of like a family member. And I gather that he lost his mother when he was very young, and he really doesn't even remember her. I think there's probably going to be more story to come related to that. But she became kind of the mother figure to help raise him once that happened. And there's some nice complexity in there where it's she wants to help him, but it's also clear that her memory is failing a little bit. She occasionally, confuses him with his father, and there's moments where it's not clear who she thinks she's talking to, but nonetheless she also indicates that she knows how to make plant-based medicines and plant-based poisons, and our character is very interested in how he can apply these poisons to the the war that we're fighting, and it's essentially unlocking a new weapon mechanic for us. But it's one where she is extremely wary of, giving this to him because she's essentially saying like this is not like something that gently puts someone to sleep uh, and they feel no pain and they don't suffer and it just makes them drop. It's like this is like it's an awful way to die. And the idea that you would do this to someone, even a bad person, and he says, well, no, but it's absolutely necessary. You know, I agree with you, but we have to do what we can to protect our home. And it's like, you start wondering about that. But the game, like, wants you to. And the idea, so she eventually, you know, she gives in and agrees to show him how to make these things. But you can see that she's clearly conflicted about it. But she wants to do what she can for him to take care of him, and it's just an interesting quest line. And the only reason I talk about like the limitations of the mechanic is that like the story clearly wants to tell this little break in the action and all the fighting, or it feels like it wants to, but the game is really just not very able to have the action in the game be anything other than you ride around and occasionally fight some bad guys. And there's a couple little side missions, and like they build in that you stop and do some of the other little side missions in there, but it's just kind of a reflection of, you know, the game. It's hard for the game not to be about the things you do in it, and so they can't make the quest include anything that's not the things that you do in the game. And I don't know, like I don't want that to sound like a criticism because I'm actually really commenting on how I like that little quest line. I won't spoil exactly how it goes, but there were just like little bits in there where it really felt like, oh yes, we have to go visit this cemetery because that's where these flowers we need are. Oh, but oh, turns out there's a bunch of Mongols at the cemetery. You have to go kill them. Um, it felt a little bit off balance in that way. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, and I will talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.